Hi, everyone. I know that we're kind of right in the middle of doing things with the sine ratio. And if you look at your at your notes package, as you can see, we did just do the sine ratio. And then coming right away, we have using sine ratio and solving right triangles. And right in between there, there's kind of this odd little thing that says angle of elevation and depression. And so, like, why the heck is that in there? Well, what's about to happen is we're going to start using these ratios, like the sine ratio, the cosine, what have you, and in more of a problem solving type of way. And all of a sudden, the questions are going to start saying things like the angle of elevation, the angle of depression. So I figured before we get on to practicing more, I should kind of just give you a quick rundown of what the heck this is. And it is best described if you look at this diagram. I want you to imagine you're on top of this cliff, okay, and you have water beneath you in a boat. You have a plane up there in the air. You see, if this person looks straight ahead, perfectly straight ahead, that's horizontal. You also could think of that as 0 degrees, okay? Now, if this person, they stay put and they simply look up at the plane, of course they're looking up, we all get that. But the angle of elevation is the angle between the horizontal or the 0 and your line of sight straight up. So as you can see now, we have the horizontal at 0. We have our line of sight up to the plane. And, well, big surprise, you're starting to get a triangle out of that. So when they say angle of elevation, that is the angle between the horizontal, or let's call that the flat line. And it's the angle between the flat line and the line of sight up to the object, okay? So if I were to draw that out again, let's say you're standing right here and you look straight ahead, that's your horizontal or your 0. And there's an object up here that you want to look at, okay? So where's your angle of elevation? The angle of elevation always occurs between the horizontal or straight out in front of you line and the line of sight up to the object. There's your angle. That's your angle of elevation. It always occurs like that. That's pretty easy, I think. Now I'm just going to kind of erase these lines here. We'll do the opposite because we have the angle of depression. So the angle of depression is kind of going the other way. You're looking down now. So think of elevation. You're elevating, you're going up. Depression, you're going down. So in this case, the angle of depression, so we're going to imagine this person is looking down at the boat. So as we know, the person can look straight out in front of them. That on the horizontal, that is 0 degrees. And then here's their line of sight down to the boat. And so the angle between the horizontal and the line of sight to the object, that is the angle of depression. Okay? So, none of this is very hard, but there is one thing, though, I want to tell you, one little hint, and it is actually at the bottom of this page. Maybe I'll just go to that example first. I'll just go to that example and I'll explain it to you, okay? So here we go. So it says here, I'm reading example 1. There's just a special trick when you have angle of depression. So we'll read this together. You're standing on top of a cliff. You spot a boat 200 meters away at an angle of depression of 55 degrees. How far is the boat from the coast? Blah, blah, blah. Okay. We haven't quite got to the stage yet where we have to solve for missing lengths, but there's a crucial part here. What's about to happen is you are going to be asked to solve for distances within a triangle, and we're going to use a sine ratio. But the point is, though, you see, this person's right here. If they look straight out, as we know, that's 0 degrees. It says here the angle of depression is 55 degrees. So that is the angle, like I just said, between the horizontal and the line of sight down to the boat. And as you can see, that's 55 degrees. But what actually is going to turn out is that actually you use that information, but it's not useful as it is right now. What you're actually going to have to do is realize to yourself, we need this little line right here. And I know this seems weird, everyone, but do you see this bigger from here all the way to there? You see that's actually going to be 90 degrees. Now, we know a portion of it is 55. So if you go 90, take away this 55, it will give you this remaining little angle right there. And you can see the math. It's going to be 35 degrees. Now, just so you know, that's going to be useful when we go right ahead into our trigonometry. So again, if I put someone, let's say they're standing here, and they're looking this, so we know that's horizontal, that's 0 degrees, and they're looking at an object right here, okay? They look down like this. So you now know the angle of depression is the angle between the horizontal and the line of sight. Let's just say, I don't know, that's 40 degrees. But one of the key things you're going to have to do, though, is draw a triangle kind of on the bottom like this. And what I want you to look at is consider is this bigger angle, which is 90 degrees. And if that's 90 degrees and we take away 40, we know that this missing one here is 50. This is a habit you're going to have to get into when dealing with angle of depression. So one last time, I'll do another one. When you have angle of depression, you kind of have to follow this procedure. So here's the person looking straight out. The person is looking down here. Oh, the person's actually looking at number 16. The angle of depression is 30 degrees. That is not overly helpful. What you're going to have to do is I'll even change, let's see if I can change my pen color here. If I actually can figure this out, there we go. What you need to do is you have to draw in a line coming down like this. It's almost like a bottom triangle. And then what you have to look at is, well, this whole angle is 90 degrees. So you need this gap right here. 90 take away 30 is 60. Just believe me, that's going to really, really help you in upcoming questions. So the whole moral of this story is, we're going to start getting into problem solving, and sometimes they're going to state things like angle of elevation and angle of depression. It's really important that we define what this was first. And please keep in mind that angle of elevation is very easy, but the angle of depression just needs that one extra little step, like I pointed out here about 3 times. Please give that a shot, or at least be aware of where this lesson is, and you might want to come back to it.